Hello everyone, I'm Professor Plink. I respond to various theological and ideological questions and claims from a rationalistic and naturalistic approach in an effort to give and explain the opposite viewpoint and help to balance the conversation. Today we're looking at 3 questions for atheists from a channel called Stir and Fry.
I've been thinking about 3 questions I'd like to ask atheists, that is, people who don't believe in God.
Well, that would be me. I am an atheist, so I hope I'm equipped enough to answer your queries.
Here's question 1. Where do you find meaning in life? What matters most to you? What are the things that matter most to you in your life?
That is a complex question. There are several ways that I find meaning in my life. I personally find fulfillment in learning new things. And not only that, but as an educator, I find purpose in helping others to acquire new knowledge as well. That is meaning as far as my career goes, but I find meaning in other ways as well, in being a good friend to my friends, a good family member to my family, basically being there for those I care about. Also in being a good member of my community and helping out those around me, whether that means lending tools to my neighbors, taking part in a town hall meeting on important local issues, anything like that. Heck, I can even find small amounts of meaning in reading a good book or playing a video game that I find challenging. There's meaning to be had all over the place, but the main thing is that it's all meaning I choose for myself rather than meaning conferred upon me by a supposed higher power.
Question 2. Let's get more explicitly theological. If there is a God, what would he have to do to prove his existence to you?
This is a fairly common question from theists, and it's one without a clear answer for most atheists. The honest truth is that I don't know what would be required. Arthur C. Clarke famously wrote that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. If I walked up on a mountaintop to find a burning bush a la Moses' story, and the bush was not consumed in the fire, and from that fire a booming voice spoke to me claiming to be the Lord, how am I to know that it's not some special effects produced through technological means? Even things that we don't have the technology to do, say raising the dead or blotting out the sun all over the world, how could I tell that's the work of a divine being and not the work of an advanced alien race? How do I know that I'm not plugged into the Matrix and everything I'm seeing is a digital simulation? How do I know that I'm not merely part of that simulation and nothing more than an advanced computer-generated character in some more advanced civilization's computer games? The reality is I don't know what it would take to convince me, but an all-knowing God would know what it would take, and he hasn't done it yet.
Question 3. Do you want the Jesus story to be true?
Interesting that you ask that, asking specifically about Jesus rather than asking, do you want God to be real, or do you want Christianity to be true?
Jesus shows us that God demonstrates who he is most clearly, nailed to a piece of wood, bleeding and praying for his enemies, laying down his life for us in order to be with us forever, because he is love.
Okay, I think I get why you asked about Jesus instead of asking about the Christian God. The story of Jesus, as you've just laid it out, is one of selfless sacrifice on the part of the Messiah to benefit all of mankind. It's tough to hear that story and not see it as a wholly good thing. But the problem is that the story of Jesus is inextricably linked to the Christian faith, and by extension, the Bible and all of its tenets. I have no problem with a caring Savior laying down his life for the benefit of others. I do have a problem with an ideology that endorses genocide, slavery, sexism, and reducing certain people's intrinsic nature down to sinful behavior. I do have a problem with a tri-omni God with supposedly perfect power, perfect knowledge, and perfect goodness, and the ability to prevent suffering, yet doesn't, and in fact in many ways causes that suffering directly. And I definitely do have a problem with a supposed just and loving God who consigns everyone who is not a member of the right religion to hell for all eternity. This question, whether by design or coincidence, turns a proverbial blind eye to all the negatives that are inextricably attached to the Christian faith by focusing on the one part of the religion that no good person could possibly have a problem with, that of good old JC himself. But there's a lot more to unpack if you want a real answer to the real question of, do you want Christianity to be true? Well, that covers Stir and Fry's 3 questions. I think these were some good and decent questions, asked honestly from a desire to reach across the aisle. So thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Professor Plink, reminding you to keep striving for greater understanding. It's the best way to get wherever you want to go.